Scene begins when a young Sung Suho is enjoying his scribbles and drawings as something approaches him. It was Beru who asked the young Sung Suho if it was a drawing of him, causing Beru to be filled with emotions and deeply moved. Suho regained consciousness, pondering where he was and how he had reached there as a nurse and doctor assessed his situation. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Our goal is 10 likes and 100 views for the next part, so let us make it happen. Also, if you want early access to new videos, consider joining our channel membership. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Moments later, at the hospital, Suho was being yelled at, being asked if he was okay, as the voice from the other call asked if Suho needed awakened bodyguards to protect him. "I am fine, uncle," replied Sung Suho. "When I woke up, 2 weeks had passed, and the incident at the Korean University of Arts, the incident of the blue mist monsters, became a hot topic due to its large quantities of casualties. The discovery that mist monsters could turn people into monsters caused the Hero Association's response to delay, and it issued an emergency in the middle of the city regarding how to counter them. And when the hunters finally arrived at the Korean University of Arts, they encountered the biggest mystery of all. Even the victims who had survived only answered that the blue mist monsters were exploding before their eyes. Sung Suho turned off the television, and with deep contemplation, he realized that everything wasn't a dream. This time, it was actually true. He had actually awakened. Realizing he was the only awakened one who could level up, he pondered, wasn't he seriously wounded fighting the C-rank blue mist monster? How was he alive? "Because I, Beru, disposed of those fools for you, dear young master," as if answering Sung Suho's thoughts, Beru began to reveal himself in a small, shadowy, chubby figure. "It has been a long time, young master," said Beru, trying to hold back his tears, not wanting to cry before Sung Suho. "Young master, you have truly grown up so much. I cannot help but swell with pride." As soon as Sung Suho saw Beru, all his scattered pieces of memories came flooding back. He recalled Beru from when he was just a little child and the time he had spent with many shadowy creatures throughout his entire childhood. This confused Sung Suho. Why was he recalling Beru just now? "I, your humble servant, have crossed over dimensions to serve you, young master," said Beru. But Sung Suho wondered why the shadowy creatures had been with him through his childhood. His mind was flooded with dozens of questions. "Ah, Beru, I do not think I remember you being this small. My current size is a result of interdimensional travel, which requires a lot of mana. I assure you, my true form not only inspires but engraves absolute terror and fear into the soul of your opposers." "But the system window says you are just a foot soldier," replied Sung Suho. This shocked Beru, who cursed the system for underestimating him. Sung Suho, getting out of the hospital bed to stretch, asked Beru if he was the one who had healed him, to which Beru agreed, telling Sung Suho that even though he was a killing machine, he was also a very skilled healer. "I traveled all the way here to release you from your seal, but it seems you had completed that on your very own." "How very impressive." "My seal," asked Sung Suho, "does that have anything to do with the dreams I have been having? You may have misjudged them as dreams, but they were memories. You were much stronger the last time we dueled. The great Lord Shadow Monarch, Sung Jinwoo, sealed your power in the hope you could live a normal life." Sung Suho, having heard the name of his father, sparked curiosity within him since he had not seen him for a long time. "I heard my father's name. Tell me, why did he leave?" asked Sung Suho, pinching Beru on the cheek. "He didn't leave. He went to space." "Space? What are you talking about? He is bad at science, let alone being an astronaut." To put it simply, Beru replied as he turned into a misty form to project his words and make Sung Suho understand better. "The great Lord Shadow Monarch is away waging a war against invaders who seek to take our world." "So you mean Dad is in space alone, protecting the whole entire world from extinction?" asked Sung Suho in a daze, trying to fathom the information. "Yes. The Outer Gods, also known as the Itarim. The Itarim have sent their forces to forcefully invade and conquer our world." On my way into this dimension, I myself had to kill a dozen worlds of different kinds. The gates and the monsters that have appeared in this world are most likely a result of this war. Suho intensely listened to Beru's words as he asked if his mom was also with his dad. This question even surprised and shocked Beru himself. They both disappeared on the same day, so I assumed they were together, Sung Suho replied. Sweat trickled down Beru's face while he shook vigorously, and with a loud shout of shock, he yelled, "What?" Mistress Heian is missing. Beru pieced it together. It had to be the Iterim. It happened as soon as their forces attacked Earth. An evil scheme hatched. So the Iterim is behind all of this. The sudden change in Suho's tone caught Beru's attention. It reminded him of Sung Jin Woo, the same tone of rage and desire to exterminate the rage of a monarch. They are the reason my parents are unable to return home. Do you wish to see them? Beru asked Suho. Of course. All these years, I have been alone, no one to care for me, just loneliness. If that is so, dear young master, then you have one choice. Your father will be unable to return to Earth for some time. That means you must grow stronger in order to rescue your mother, Mistress Heian. You must do everything in your power to level up to the heights your father had achieved. Quest has arrived. A system tab notified. Quest, the Trial of the Shadow. You are the son of the Shadow Monarch, born with absolute great power. But it was sealed until you prove yourself worthy of wielding such power. Enter the Shadow Dungeon to prove your worth as the son of the great Lord Shadow Monarch, Sung Jin Woo. Holding the Shadow Key, a system tab appeared. Item, Key to the Shadow Dungeon. Difficulty unknown. Category, a key that grants access to the Shadow Dungeon. This key can be used in Sung Suho's shadow. Use that key to open your shadow, young master. Reaching out with the key to his shadow on the wall, the key seemed to unlock, sounding like an ancient Egyptian double door opening a passage to the realm of the dead. A vortex began to form from Suho's shadow, creating a portal to another space, which grew bigger and bigger. Enter the shadows to reclaim what is rightfully yours, young master, encouraged Beru. I do not know any of this, or if I believe any of this. All this talk about space, war with the gods, the Shadow Monarch, it feels like nonsense. But if I get stronger, that means I will be able to see my family once again. Until then, I will have to level up as many times as it takes. If the gods are going against my father, wait until I too can reach such a level, and they will atone for their sins. This feeling Beru was sensing made him recall.
Flashback.
My king, did you summon me? Go to Earth and release Suho from his seal, said the king of the dead, the greatest of all time, Sung Jin Woo. Do you mean the young master's seal, my lord? Yes. There is a chance that the Utarim's forces have breached and already reached Earth. Return Suho's power and memories so that he can aid in defending Earth on his own. And from now onward, I, your Shadow King, permit you and give you full authority to act upon your judgment and guide him on the path you see fit.
End of flashback.
Having recalled this, Beru reminded himself of the responsibility on his shoulders and vowed to act accordingly. He remembered the weakened state in which he found Suho close to death. Beru vowed to himself not to let such a thing happen to his young master again. I, Beru, choose to remain alongside the young master and look after him as he grows to reach and even surpass the heights the king had set back then. As they entered the Shadow Gate, the gate seemed to react and instantly vanished. Going through to the other side, Suho was surprised by what he saw. This is the land of the dead, where no living creature may enter without permission, young master. This, young master, is what is called the Shadow Dungeon. This is the Shadow Dungeon. The place looks more like an abandoned city than a dungeon, but Suho wasn't sure. The place seemed really familiar. A system notification popped up before Sung Suho. Quest Survival. The inhabitants of the Shadow Dungeon will never accept a weak ruler like yourself. Survive until the timer runs out. Required time 4 hours. I have to survive out here for 4 hours? Asked Suho, looking blankly at the system tab. Be vigilant, young master. Your trial has begun, warned Beru. My trial question asked Sung Suho. A creature jumped in for a sneaky attack on Suho, but with quick reflexes and combat instinct, he performed a swift handstand, delivering an upper leg attack to the creature's chest, sending it flying back. Where the fuck did you come from? The creature that had been tossed back was actually a goblin, but a goblin scout. The fuck? These idiots have scouts, asked Sung Suho. A scout means other goblins are nearby, answered Beru. Then I will finish him off before he can alert them, said Suho as he rushed toward the goblin at full speed. Young master, it is true that goblins are one of the weaker monsters, but I must advise caution, warned Beru. Don't worry. The goblin's name isn't displayed with color, which means it can't be stronger than me. With a quick strike to the goblin's arms, Suho disarmed its axe, caught it, and with a great swing, brought it crashing down onto the goblin's head, crushing its skull and instantly killing it. One thing I've realized is that anything stronger than me will be displayed by color, Suho informed Beru. A sound like that of a war trumpet caught both of their attention. They turned to see a goblin blowing its horn, alerting the others. A troop of goblins gathered, and among them was their leader, the goblin centurion. The goblins were in small groups, each led by a goblin commander. Ah! Aren't you going to help me, Beru? Asked Sung Suho. As much as I wish to, young master, I am unable. Since I am far from your father, I must conserve my strength. Besides, my aid would result in greatly reduced experience points and battle experience for you, young master, Beru replied. So basically, you are not going to help? Asked Suho. You know what? Let us give this ability a try, he said with a grim smile. A visible force covered the axe lodged in the goblin's head, and with great suction force, it left the goblin's skull and instantly began chopping down the group of goblins. I saw this skill in my status window. Activating it feels like I gained an invisible hand. This is the power of the commander's authority. An arrow, aimed straight for Suho's head, was caught midair. This made him realize that among the goblin troops, there were also archers. And using the commander's authority, Suho, being the kind man he was, wouldn't keep something that wasn't his. So he kindly and gently returned the arrow directly into the goblin's head. Beru was shocked by how quick, precise, and fast Suho was adapting. All his time looking after him as a child, it was like witnessing a legend unfold. He inherited the commander's authority from his father, and he was able to use it at such a young age. But this power created for pure destruction served no purpose in a world that was so peaceful. But now that the forces of the Itarim have invaded, this is the time for the young master to unleash his true power and go down the path of a monarch. And the level-up notifications kept increasing. Looks like the commander's authority only lets me manipulate objects up to 10 kilograms, Suho muttered. As he was in a daze, a goblin landed a sneak attack, inflicting damage. The goblin, with an evil grin, gave a bloodthirsty gaze. But before it could rejoice, Suho crushed its face. This made Beru worried, seeing the state Suho was in. Back in the goblin troop, one goblin released an overwhelming bloodlust. It was the leader of the goblins, the goblin centurion. Reaching for the dagger buried deep in his gut, Suho winced in pain as he pulled it out. And with great force and a firm grip, he launched the dagger with tremendous speed, aimed straight for the goblin centurion. It landed directly in its chest. But the feeling of lingering between life and death, it gave Suho more excitement than ever before. The more the goblins attacked, the more he defended himself with his bare hands. He took damage, but the rush of excitement and joy was greater. Suho dashed through the troops of goblins like an unstable force. And in that moment, he managed to grab another dagger. Mercilessly, Suho slaughtered the goblins, leaving them no chance of survival. More system tabs popped up. He kept leveling up, more and more, leaving a trail of dead corpses in his wake. And then, the 4 hours were up. Suho had survived. This was amazing, young master. I had no doubt you would succeed, praised Beru, clapping with joy. But Suho wasn't happy. Like an annoyed child, he answered, I can't believe you really didn't help me at all. A system tab appeared, asking Suho if he wanted to accept the rewards. Suho agreed. Following rewards have been delivered. A runestone to be exact, shadow extraction. He told Beru about it, which surprised him. Suho, you are also acquiring the power that the king had. And I also got a skill called tenacity while I was fighting. When I awakened, I did not just get the level system, I also received new skills. Suho realized that after awakening, he was becoming absolutely overpowered. Beru explained, the system you use is a modified version of the one your father, the Shadow Monarch, used in the past. It is a support tool to help develop your power. In other words, you thought you were an unawakened civilian, but you were born with a silver shadow spoon, a power many cannot even comprehend. Holding the runestone, Suho crushed it. A familiar aura of the dead accumulated around him. He had now acquired the skill Shadow Extraction. Shadow Extraction, Level 1. Passive, Shadow Authority, no mana required. By extracting mana from a corpse, you are able to create Shadow Warriors. The chance of failure increases with stronger targets and as more time passes since their death. Available extraction 0/3. So I can make Shadow Warriors? Beru explained that this skill allowed Suho to create warriors, just like himself, from corpses. Shadow Extraction is the skill that made the current Shadow Monarch, Sung Jin Woo, who he is today. Isn't this like necromancy? But I need to hunt to get the required corpses. So does that not mean I can control those who are weaker than me? Suho asked. Reaching his hand out, he continued, I have heard that summoning skills are not considered very useful in the hunter community. And then he uttered the words, Shadow Extraction. But nothing happened. Confused, he looked at the System tab. The system asked him to choose a command to activate Shadow Extraction. This prompt made Beru's heart race. A nostalgic feeling washed over him. A canon event was about to unfold before his eyes. Okay, it has to be something direct and to the point, murmured Suho. Beru's excitement grew. And even though they were separated by dimensions, though the distance between them was greater than the earth and sky itself, it couldn't defy the saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. As if connected by blood but separated by body, Suho spoke the words that the king himself, Shadow Monarch Sung Jin Woo, once used. And those words were none other than,
Arise.